As a high school student, I take many tests and exams, and I will continue taking tests and exams as I go throughout my life. As a student, I want to have a good education and have good grades. Having a good education and having good grades means I have to study. Throughout my life, I've been taught many different types of studying skills, but based on the research that I have done, the best studying skills are taking practice tests and quizzes, um, taking notes, and self explanation. Based on the New York Times, testing is not only measures the knowledge that we have, but it also changes it. There was an experiment that was done where students were given a science passage from a reading comprehension test, and they were immediately given a test after 2 sessions of studying. But then there was another experiment, which was a group of students that had the same exact passage, but instead of two sessions of studying the passage, they were given 1 session, where in the second session, they were given a practice test. Um, this was really good because 2 days after this experiment, they were given a test and they did really good. They did the same thing a week later and they still did really good on the test. Um, as a student, I always want an easy exam, an easy test, because that's less studying that I have to do. It's an easy thing where I can just look over my notes and I know exactly what I need to do. Or maybe I don't have to look at my notes at all and I just know exactly what I need to test on. But based on the New York Times, the harder the test is, the more effective it is. This is called desirable difficulty, a learning task that requires a considerable but desirable amount of effort, thereby improving long-term performance. So in other words, for us to have a deeper knowledge of information, we have to take a harder test and harder test on the things that we are taught in a subject, because it will give us more to understand and we're more likely to remember it in the long run, whereas easy things won't help us. It's a short-term memory thing where it's just we're learning it for that test. The next thing is taking notes. Taking notes is one of the top 10 studying skills, according to Lynchburg College. The best ways to take notes is by paraphrasing the professor's words. We're not able to write down every single thing that the professor says, so writing down exactly the important stuff is really good. Review your notes every night. As a student, I have many classes, so I have to review over the notes over and over again so I can refresh my brain when I'm doing my homework or when I have to study for something. Create your own abbreviations, things that you will easily understand. Write down anything that the professor repeats. When the professor repeats anything, they obviously want you to write it down. They obviously want you to get that in your brain because you're going to get tested on it. They highlight important materials, write down examples. In my math class, I'm always writing down examples. That's really the only way I can understand something is writing down the examples. Um, I'm giving many different lessons every single day in math, and those examples will help me out in the long run to understand what I'm taught in class. So I can look back at those notes and those examples at the end of the year when I'm taking my final exam, and I can take look at those notes for every chapter that that was taught to me. That was taught. Self-explanation is a reading strategy where you pause after reading something and explain it to yourself. I've done this many times when I'm reading chemistry or biology. I have to stop and I have to paraphrase something. I have to change those words into my own words so I can understand something a lot more. Through this, I realized that I have to look back at the text which helps me realize that I need to study more on that specific information, because self-explaining helps us realize what we understand and what we don't understand. If we're able to explain something and not look back at the notes, then that's really good. This also helps us identify our problems and helps us revise with our explanations. This also enriches and repairs the understanding that we might have on the topic. Um, as a student, once again, I always need different type of studying tips. I always need to learn something new. And these things are the best ways for me to understand something. I hope you are able to use these tips because they're helpful to me, and I hope they're helpful for you. Thank you.